Hello YouTube, it's me again today. I'm here with a political discussion video rather. So I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I was literally sitting awake at 2 a.m. last night, and I was thinking to myself, I should do a video on this because I had an idea. It's about the presidential election. It's like I think I figured out a way to defeat Donald Trump and Ted Cruz in the Republican primary. Now, the establishment can take my advice or not. They're probably not even going to watch this video, to be honest. But, you know. So this is my thoughts. Let me just get Max here. Okay. Now, as you know, Donald Trump and Ted Cruz are currently the leaders for the Republican primary. They're ahead, as you can see, and by a pretty significant margin. Now, as you can see, Trump has been, ever since Trump dominated the race, he's been entered the race, he's been pretty much dominating, and he always seems to go up for whatever reason, whether that be he says dumbass shit all the time, or he just simply, I don't know, has some sort of appeal. I mean, again, he appeals to all the angry voters, like, Washington's not doing anything, we gotta screw the system, we gotta let this guy. And while that sounds good in theory, I mean, Trump is no different than Hillary Clinton. He gave to her foundation. He was at her wedding. He was a Democrat longer than before he was a Republican. So, I mean, if this was Mitt Romney ahead, and Romney did all that, the Tea Party would never let Romney get away with it, and they didn't actually. I mean, they hammered him over his supposedly liberal positions, over Obamacare, his flip-flopping. But with Trump, most on the right literally don't care. They're like, whatever. So it's a lot of hypocrisy of the Tea Party part. Now, there are some in the Tea Party that do call him out, and, you know, I respect that. Now, as you know, Trump and Cruz are Tea Party acolytes. They appeal to the Tea Party, the disenfranchised voter base of the Republican Party. And I noticed that, and I thought to myself, well, I imagine the establishment's doing everything they can to, you know, take these guys out. And I read an article the other day on Roll Call that said that they barely run ads. And I'm like, dude, the heck? So I came to the realization that the establishment is just not taking Trump and Cruz seriously. They still think that this is just summer fling, that, oh, it'll be over by tomorrow or something. They have to wake up and realize that it's not. This is actually a serious threat, and I'm a Republican myself, so I share a concern that Trump and Cruz cannot win. They cannot beat Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, or whoever the Dems put up. But point being is, you know, 34-19, that's around 40-50% of the party. And well, some of their supporters haven't made up. Excuse me, but some of their supporters haven't fully made up their minds. They're like, I might go with this guy. But there's a good 40% chunk of the party that is dead center. They are serious about this. They want to crash the party right into a brick wall because it's for the case of conservative values. So that's why they are insistent, and they're not going to fade on their own. I mean, Trump and Cruz can't fade for whatever reason because they've locked into the voter base. Now they can do occasionally they can do stuff to upset it, like Trump did with like he's been attacking Cruz recently over him being born in Canada, and Cruz has been attacking Trump over his quote unquote New York values. So that does hurt both of them to a degree. But at the end of the day, they will kind of like soften back up to them. They'll crawl back because there's still 12 candidates in, and people will go to them because they're the shiny orbs. It's kind of like mob rule kind of thing. They will follow. They will basically go to whoever is the shiny orbs. And right now that was Trump. That's Trump and Cruz. Carson was a shiny orb for a little bit, but the problem is Carson was never perceived as a tough guy. I mean, he's a great guy, I like him, but he was never perceived as a tough guy. He wasn't knowledgeable on foreign policy, and when that debate changed over foreign policy, when that came into play, he just faded, as you can clearly see here, and Cruz and Rubio rose, because they're more well-versed in national security issues. So that's good for them. However, Uh, However, Trump and Cruz are different because, and I don't know, I mean, because again, they're so locked in, it's like they have a lot of lives that they can repeatedly shoot each other, shoot themselves in the foot, and they'll be fine. Or they're just invulnerable to gaffes. Like they can say, for example, oh, these Mexicans are stupid. They're going to invade America. We gotta build a 190-foot wall rather than a 90-foot wall. We gotta lock off our border with Canada. We gotta nuke Australia or in Switzerland. They could say that, and they will probably go up, literally, because people want a bold candidate. They do right now. They just do. And the problem is no one's challenging them on the airwaves. These guys can go on TV and they're not challenged at all. And attacking Trump in Cruz in debate, Cruz is different, but attacking Trump in debate rarely works. It only worked for Carly Fiorina, kind of, and as you know, she did well in the first undercard debate. Then she was in the second debate, and she was at a time the third place for Republican nomination. Then she failed because she just couldn't keep the momentum going. And likely she probably can't get it back, and she's probably screwed. But point being, what the establishment needs to do is they need to run ads against Trump and Cruz, hitting them for their various positions and personalities, anything like that. I'm not a professional ad maker, as you can see. You watch my videos, but point being, they need to challenge them on the airwaves. They got a blanket with negative coverage about them, and it will cause them to go down. And it's actually worked. I'll show you. In Iowa, the Club for Growth, they did I think it was $1 million ad buy that, let me get the max here, so I'm a little laggy, but they did $1 million ad buy, what was it, September to October, I think the article said, and that caused Trump to go down, and that caused Carson to kind of swell, and then and the point is, during this section right here, Trump fell because it was getting ads. He went from 28 and as much down to, let me see here, 20. So he went down by 8 points a bit, and granted that was also part of Carson's rise. Okay, let me get back to the main page. But the point being is they have to challenge him on the airwaves. That's the first step. The second step is there's just simply too many candidates in the field, unfortunately, for some of these guys. The establishment needs to coalesce around one candidate, whether that be Rubio here, whether that be Bush, whether that be Christie, whether that be Kasich. It can be one of those four. I'm personally fine with all four. I like Rubio, I like Christie, I like Kasich, Bush, Concord, hey, his support for that doesn't swell with me. The point being, they need to coalesce around the candidate, one of those four that are establishment friendly. And then the following candidates need to drop out. Santorum has to drop out. Huckabee sadly has to drop out, even though I like him. Rand Paul needs to drop out. Sorry, Paul Botts. And Fiorina needs to drop out. And Carson's campaign is done. He also needs to go. So that would bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candidates and coalesce. That would be basically a three-way race to whoever. Now, the more candidates that are in for a longer period of time, the greater chance of Trump or Cruz clinching the nomination. I say Cruz because Trump and Cruz kind of fight for the same voter base to a degree, and I mean Trump could end up having a weaker than expected voting op in Iowa and New Hampshire, and he falters, but Cruz has a better operation. So, but literally the difference is there's no difference between these two. They're one and the same. They're twins, essentially. Some differences on policy, sure, but they're really kind of the same personality, to a degree. No, they're basically the same. Trump even talked to Cruz, saying, "You should be my running mate," and I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen. And that ticket would be a disaster ticket. If Trump or Cruz are a nominee, they cannot win against Clinton or Sanders. They would get crushed. Rubio can definitely win. Christie might be able to win. Kasich, I know he can win, but point being, a bunch of these candidates have to drop out. Now, they're not going to drop out because I was right around the corner, and if your campaign sucks at this stage and you're still in, you're probably just waiting around just to get people to vote for you, and then you can drop out saying, hey, I know people vote for me, but it's not going to be enough. That's their call, but anyways. But that doesn't help the Republican Party to solve their Trump and Cruz issue. Some of these people need to get together and say, okay, look, not all of us are going to win. So we need to figure out who should stay and who should drop out so we can beat Trump or Cruz. That should be their goal. Right now it's not because you have so many vote splitters. I mean, if you combine Rubio's 11 with Bush's 4 and Christie's 3 and Kasich's 2, I'm doing a little mental math here, 15. They would be in essential, like, they would be ahead of Cruz, but they would be far behind Trump by 14 points. And with Carson, I feel like Carson voters were kind of split between Cruz and Trump. So, but they might go to other candidates. That 9% or so will not all go to Trump and Cruz. It will be split among the other candidates. So, again, people need to drop out, but that's not, and they need to challenge Trump and Cruz on the airwaves, and the reason I'm really repetitive on the airwaves part is these guys are TV gods. Trump and Cruz are TV gods. They can go around and they can say anything, and they were able to and they choked off a lot of these people's oxygen. They choked off, let's see, Paul, Huckabee, Walker's. I'm burping, sorry, but they choked off a lot of people's oxygen to access to TV. Like it happened to Walker, it happened to Perry, it happened to Jindal, Graham, Huckabee, Paul, even Fiorina, and it hurt Kasich number. But Trump really hurt Bush as well. So and Trump also damaged Carson a lot. And that's why he's kind of down now. So again, they need to challenge. The establishment needs to choke off Trump and Cruz from the TV time. If they blanket the states with negative ads, it will force them to compete and dive into their resources to compete. Now there is a big risk with that. I know Cruz wouldn't do this, but if Trump were to realize that they're against me, he's going to be like, I was treated unfairly, so I have to run third party now because Make America Great Again. And Trump bots will probably say, that's true. That is our definition of not being treated fairly. So this isn't without risk or anything. It's a huge risk because Trump might run third party because that pledge he signed earlier last year, it's not legally binding. He could tear it up at any point he feels like it and do what he wants because make America great again. Am I right? So yeah, that's the way you really stop these guys because they're not gonna win. They just not. Trump will. If you look at these candidates' poll numbers in general, in terms of favorability, Trump and Cruz are one of the most hated candidates. Even Clinton ranks pretty low, but she's like a saint compared to Trump and Cruz. Now, I feel like Rubio, who's my guy, who I'm backing, he can really win the general election. Christie, I know, he could. It would be an effort, but I think Christie could do in the end. So, really, they gotta challenge him on the airwaves, and then people need to drop out and coalesce behind one candidate, and then you can go from there. Like, you can hammer Trump. If the ad strategy does work, then Trump's numbers will go down. And then hopefully the establishment candidate can go up, and then they can clinch the knot. Now, I'm very skeptical of Trump and Cruz's voting operations, like ground game. That's everything in politics, really. These poll numbers are not set in stone or anything, but pretty soon they can be, because if Trump and Cruz win Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, then momentum will put the race into auto drive. And then momentum takes over from there, and then they won't have to do that much, and then they can just and then Republican primary voters across the country will realize, okay, well, these guys won these states, so let's vote for them because they should be our nominee and wrap up the process. And Reince Priebus and the RNC kind of brought this upon themselves because they felt that the 2012 nomination process was too long, and that's the reason why Romney lost. So they kind of they really condensed this primary season. So now, granted, granted that could be a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that voting hasn't started for them, and if it was and if the states were already voting and these were the numbers, I'd say that it's probably over. Trump would win. But then on the flip side, they would have a longer time to deal with Trump and figure out to bring him down. But the establishment is so afraid to try to bring Trump and Cruz down that they think that Trump will go third party. Now, Cruz would be easier to beat because Rubio can attack Cruz in the debates, and like Cruz can struggle. Cruz does have a tendency to struggle more. Trump, he's different. Like you need different strategies to take down both of them. So yeah, that's really my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I literally came up with this at 2 a.m. last night. I was reading an article, and I'm like, oh my god, how stupid are these people to not run ads against these guys. Now, granted, positive ads haven't been working this cycle, but negative ads still do work to a degree. So that's, I think, how the Republicans can save themselves in the primary and have a decent shot in the general election. Are they going to do it? I'm 99% sure that they're not going to do it because they're afraid of Trump, that he'll run third party. And that's really the only reason. But if Trump does actually run third party, then Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders will be in the White House. There's no plausible way because the Republicans will be split, and 2/3 of Trump's voting base, I remember, was a poll out that would instantly go to him. So, and again, personally, I feel, in my personal thoughts, call me crazy for this, but I feel like the Republican primary voters' anger has been so misdirected, and it's kind of ridiculous to understand. Like, first off, I'm not saying Republican leadership in Congress is perfect, by far. I know that they said that, we're going to do this, and they can't. But really, in hindsight, we should have expected this, because they literally can't do it. Sorry, because of the rules of the Senate, the Democrats can filibuster any proposal that would get rid of Obamacare, and this was when Boehner was Speaker, but Boehner retired recently. They really couldn't do it, and again, there was a lack of willingness to fight because in the stage of the Obama presidency, like it's just kind of like they're just in for the long haul. Obama's not going to work with Congress, so why should Congress work with Obama? So it's not like Obama's had really any leftist judge appointments recently. But I mean, he did at the end when Harry Reid was in his final months of majority leader, thanks to Ted Cruz because of my conservative values. Thank you, Cruz. So, really, that's the way to do it. That's the only way to do it. The Republican primary voters' anger is again, it's misdirected, and they should be angry at Obama because Obama brought this on them, and Congress can't undo the damage because Obama can just veto them at any proposal that goes on his desk that's against his agenda. So why Republican voters think that Congress can actually do it? And in terms of funding, again, I agree that they can use the power of the purse and all, but then there would be the issue of a government shutdown potentially, and saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be afraid of a government shutdown." Well, it damaged Republicans in the short term, at least for the 2014 midterms, and there was a real chance that if Obamacare did not fail, Democrats could be in charge of Congress right now, still in the Senate. So it's purely politics, and the Republican primary voters don't realize that. They should be mad at the president. They should get behind a candidate that can win and undo anything that Obama did. And any of these candidates really can do that. But the question is, can they win? Trump might be the big question mark because, again, he was a Democrat recently, then became a Republican, then switched back and forth for a bunch of years. So you really don't know where Trump stands. He gives these vague responses, like Obama did in 2008, like hope and change, Trump's Make America Great Again, and really his support is like a cult, kind of. I'm not trying to say this to be offensive, but But like a bunch of these candidates, like they're hardcore supporters of like a cult. They will follow them no matter what. So even Santorum is a cult, although it's not registering right now. Sorry. But that's, again, I'm repeating this, I'm ranting, I'm rambling, but that's the way to do it. So that's my thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video. So yeah, bye.